Reid has choice words for conservatives. She is mocking them over Mark Zuckerberg coming out saying, yeah, we're going to get rid of the fact-checking thing. The video is actually quite hilarious because the lady is not too bright. That's why she recently took a pay cut at her failing network. But while we can bask in the glory that is their defeat, the far left, the woke left, losing everything, important points must be made. And I'm going to say this first and foremost. Mark Zuckerberg coming out and saying, hey, free speech, this is not the pendulum swing. That's a lie. These leftists, these liberals, the people of the institutions and the corporate press are saying that Mark Zuckerberg is just bending the knee to Donald Trump. He's simply going the other direction. No, he isn't. If this was truly going to be a pendulum swing, then what they would do is they'd keep the fact-checking program, but kick out PolitiFact and the Poynter Institute, among others, and they'd bring in Breitbart and the National Review.
Whoa, Tim Pool, he has made the full conversion to the dark side. Timcast IRL, Timcast and Tim Pool. He's been talking about the Mark Zuckerberg reveal. He's bringing in Joy Reid on this and her strange reaction. Fresh off not just a haircut, also a pay cut. The bald head wonder Joy Reid melts down, and then so does Tim Pool on Timcast. Let's get back into it. Let's see what Timcast has to say about Mark Zuckerberg and Joy Reid.
They bring in the Daily Wire and say from now on, all our fact-checking will be done by our larger media partners in the conservative media space.
No. We're not bringing in the Daily Wire to fact check.
Yeah, but that's not what they're doing. So let's see the smug and smarmy Joy Reid and what she had to say about the issue.
Why would conservatives think fact-checking is biased against them?
Well, let's start with allsides.com and even Ground News rating these companies, 9 of the fact checkers, as being liberal biased. That's perhaps one reason.
The regime is very smart. They label something as, I don't know, a vaccine, and you just assume that it is. They label something as a fact check. How could you not like a fact check when it's just complete propaganda? Back to Tim Pool. This is Timcast on Joy Reid.
I mean, what are you sharing if you keep getting fact-checked?
True and correct information. True and correct information that went against the narrative. How about that? Like the Hunter Biden laptop.
Think about it. What were conservatives sharing on Meta that was getting flagged so much? Were they spreading false information?
This lady is as dumb as a box of rocks, and I am reluctant to say such a thing because I fear it is offensive to rocks. But here's the story from Daily Mail. MSNBC's Joy Reid is going viral after a fit over Mark Zuckerberg's U-turn on fact-checking. The readout star took to TikTok to air her distaste on Tuesday. The latter was delivered on the air, blah, blah, blah. Why would conservatives think fact-checking is biased against them? Well, heavens me, let's pull up allsides.com. The end of fact-checking at Meta, an overdue change or pro-Trump pivot. So they basically break it down. All Sides is a great website. You can see here the Western Journal.
It's definitely a pro-Trump pivot. There's no doubt about that.
Zuckerberg drops fact-checking and they say right biased. From the left, Meta says fact-checkers were the problem. Fact-checkers rule that false. All right, let's pop over that there media bias chart and take a look at the news. Here's their methodology. Here's how they break it down. And let's pull up their media bias chart. Here we go. So let's take a look at what...
I don't understand. This is Tim Pool, and I've listened to him for years. I've already seen him use this chart and do this in different contexts before in the past. And I don't get it. I don't get it. You're looking at All Sides media bias chart. I don't care. A fact is a fact. It doesn't matter. And no one gets to decide what a fact is for me or not. I decide it. So even Tim Pool himself is basically as bad as Joy Reid is on this take. He started this segment saying, well, if it was a pivot, then I don't know if he was calling for it because he's very careful with his words. But I don't even know why you would even bring that up. If it was a pivot, you would have the Daily Wire fact check. What? If it was a pivot, you would be able to let users fact check. You would be able to say, as a user, you can give anybody on the platform your own fact check rating. Well, how cool would that be? I could give Daily Wire, when it comes to a certain country, a 0. I could give them, when it comes to a certain topic, an 80 out of 100 or whatever the rating system is. And then maybe there's some people that I like a lot. Mel Village Crazy Lady, Cassandra McDonald. There's just a ton of people. Comic Dave Smith, I would say, are 90s. And then I would be like, okay, here are my people. Here are the people I like to rock with. What do they think on this topic? How crazy and dope would that be if Meta, the tools that they use to tell you what a fact is, they're not changing that. They're just changing it to the community note style, which is a fake way of adding context and fact checking. Let's get back to Tim Cass. You see how bad he is, and he's just as bad as Joy Reid talking about Mark Zuckerberg and Meta.
What is considered to be centrist? To answer Joy Reid's question, BBC, the Christian Science Monitor, CNBC, Forbes, The Hill, Market Watch, News Nation, Newsweek, Real Clear Politics,
subjective.
Reason, Reuters. I don't know what SAN is. And the Wall Street Journal. We can pop over to the left and see ABC News, Axios, Bloomberg, CBS, CNN Insider, NBC, New York Times, NPR, Politico, ProPublica, Semaphore, Time, USA Today, Washington Post. Heavens me. On the left, we have The Daily Beast, The Atlantic, The Associated Press.
They're not really left. They're corporate. So this doesn't even make sense to me.
Now, hold on there, gosh darn minute. You mean to tell me that allsides.com has rated the Associated Press as leftist? That's quite interesting. Let me see if I can pull up a document on the list of, let's do this, list of approved Facebook fact checkers. Let's do this. Facebook, a map of Meta's global third-party, no, let's get the actual list here. Partnering with, what is this? List of fact-checking website. Meta's third party. Come on. Where's the list? I may have to actually, AFP. How about that? I'm going to have to go to some original research to pull this one up. And let's grab this right here. Oh, how about this? I'm going to grab this tweet from SHREDS over on X. This one's for you, Joy Reid. So Aaron Shirachman says, we'll have more to say on this, but these are my thoughts. Basically saying the end of the fact-checking program has nothing to do with free speech. Video shows Biden wandered off from world leaders at G7 skydiving event. False, they said. It's pretty amazing because he did. And they said, well, he was going to greet someone else. Uh-huh. And that's what we are saying. The video in question was Joe Biden standing with a group of world leaders. A skydiver was somewhere off in the distance, and Biden walked off to go talk to the guy. He wandered off from world leaders. And they said, false. Because that was always the dirty game that they played. Let's jump back to their article from the
community notes plays the same game, and we don't know who these people are. It has been weaponized. We've seen that become weaponized against certain people on X. It's just a way to weaponize fact checking without calling it fact checking.
Media bias fact checker, and then we'll rag on. Take a look at this. Common ground on facts and fact checking. Think misinformation increases hate crimes. They say, how do they break this down? I don't know if they're getting into it on this one. They say, voice on the left, we're less likely to see the alleged political bias of fact checkers as a problem. In the New York Times, with a left bias, fact-checking organization said they had no say over what Meta did with the fact-checked content. A piece in The Verge, a left bias, also quoted fact-checking organizations and researchers concerned that users will now have to wade through virtually unmoderated hate speech and disinformation. Others framed the change as a Trump-friendly shift to the right. And that's basically what I'm trying to get at with this segment. The reason why I want to talk about Joy Reid's hypocrisy in her comments is because this is not a rightward shift. This is neutrality. And if they're going to make the argument that Zuckerberg is kissing Trump's ring, Trump has settled for neutrality. How about you push back? How about you say, keep doing it, but take away the power from left-leaning outlets? I wonder if all sides, I can search for Pointer. Let's see if they come up. They give Pointer a centrist rating. Well, okay. Then I'm gonna basically.
You see the problem. That's enough. You see the problem here. This is not a bashing Tim. I didn't do this segment to try to bash Tim Pool, but I do have a critique of him more because I respect him more than Joy. Joy Reid is a clown. So what am I going to talk about her position? She's a literal clown. Tim, I'm disappointed in Tim's position. I'm bringing this back to the beginning. What was he talking about in the beginning here? Let me bring this back.
MSNBC's Joy Reid has choice words for conservatives. She is mocking them over Mark Zuckerberg coming out saying, yeah, we're going to get rid of the fact-checking thing. The video is actually quite hilarious because the lady is not too bright. That's why she recently took a pay cut at her failing network. But while we can bask in the glory that is their defeat, the far left, the woke left losing everything, important points must be made. And I'm going to say this first and foremost. Mark Zuckerberg coming out and saying, hey, free speech, this is not the pendulum swing. That's a lie. These leftists, these liberals, the people of the institutions and the corporate press are saying that Mark Zuckerberg is just bending the knee to Donald Trump. He's simply going the other direction. No, he isn't. If this was truly going to be a pendulum swing, then what they would do is they'd keep the fact-checking program, but kick out PolitiFact and the Poynter Institute, among others, and they'd bring in Breitbart and the National Review. They'd bring in the Daily Wire and say, from now on, all our fact-checking will be done by our larger media partners in the conservative media space. Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. He didn't straight up call for that to happen. But, yeah, I think what his point is if the Overton window is truly shifting the other way, then that's what Mark Zuckerberg would do. But community notes kind of is that, though. So I still have a problem, even though he didn't actually call for that to happen. He's not saying that that's what he wants to have happen. What's your comment, Tim, on community notes and how it's used now on X? Do you like it? Have you seen what they've been doing? They've been doing community notes on jokes. They basically put a community note on any post that goes viral that they don't really want to pay out on or they don't want to go viral. It makes no sense because you can provide context on any post. You can provide context to this video, whatever post. You could comment on my video and I can provide context to your comment. And so where does it end? How do we decide who gets a community note and who doesn't? And when you do on X to get a community note, a lot of people might not realize it. You get deranked in the algorithm as well. You get demonetized. Maybe people didn't realize that because on some of these million, something posts, you could make $1,000 on them or something, just that post. It's possible, depending how viral it goes. But if you don't have a blue check, you don't get paid. If you do have the premium and the blue check, you get paid. But if you get a community note, you don't get paid on that post. And if you get too many community notes, that's what they said happened to Dom Luker, you get demonetized. Now, I don't know what Facebook's going to do with that. I'm not as familiar with their payout or if they even have one. But you see the problem. Community notes is not good. And Tim didn't even mention that. So let me know what you think. Am I off base here? I think Tim Pool and Joy Reid are both off.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.